In the day's other news, the Food and Drug Administration formally recommended Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for young children. The CDC makes the final decision next week on the lower dose shots for 5 to 11-year-olds. Meanwhile, thousands of New York City's police officers, firefighters, and others refuse to comply with today's deadline to get vaccinated. They'll be put on unpaid leave starting on Monday. We'll return to this later in the program. There is yet more evidence of inflation heating up in this pandemic era. A key barometer of prices is up nearly 4.5% from a year ago. That is the most in 30 years. And wages and salaries jumped a record 1.5% in the third quarter as employers paid more to attract workers. Protesters turned out around the world today ahead of a UN climate summit that starts Sunday in Glasgow, Scotland. In London, activists rallied in the financial district to protest fossil fuel investments. Demonstrators also gathered in Tel Aviv, Paris, and other cities. And in Rome, the UN Secretary General warned that the summit may fall short.
There is a serious risk that Glasgow will not deliver. Several recent climate announcements might leave the impression of a rosier picture. Unfortunately, this is an illusion. We are still careening towards climate catastrophe.
President Biden travels to Glasgow on Monday. He has called for cutting U.S. greenhouse gas emissions in half by 2030. That would be from 2005 levels. In another development, the U.S. Supreme Court agreed today to consider whether the federal government can curb carbon emissions from power plants. Southern Australia, meanwhile, is trying to recover from some of the strongest winds in at least a decade. A low-pressure system roared across Melbourne and the surrounding state of Victoria overnight, causing severe damage. Wind gusts topped 100 miles an hour in places, peeling back roofs, downing trees, and knocking out power to more than 450,000 homes. Back in this country, the Biden administration will try again to stop making asylum seekers wait in Mexico. The Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, said today that the Trump-era policy did cut border crossings, but he also said migrants faced major violence in Mexican cities. Separately, it was widely reported that the Justice Department is in talks to pay up to $450,000 per person to families separated at the border during the Trump administration. A U.S. military jury today sentenced the first high-value detainee being held at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Majid Khan got 26 years for murder and terrorism charges, but he could be released in February because he's cooperated with U.S. authorities. On Thursday, Khan testified publicly about being tortured at secret CIA prisons after 9/11. He's been at Guantanamo since 2006. The sheriff in Albany County, New York, says there is overwhelming evidence for a sex crimes complaint against former Governor Andrew Cuomo. It charges him with groping a woman last year. That's a misdemeanor under state law. Sheriff Craig Apple acknowledged today there was confusion over Thursday's filing of the complaint, but he said that doesn't change the facts.
The way it went down has nothing to do with the case. The case is a very solid case. We have great information that was obtained. We met our burden as far as probable cause, and we have filed.
Cuomo resigned in August after a state attorney general's report accused him of harassing multiple women. Today, Attorney General Letitia James announced she will run for governor. Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois announced today he will not seek re-election next year. The five-term congressman has been a vocal critic of former President Trump. He's also one of only 2 Republicans on the committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. His announcement came hours after Democrats in the Illinois legislature approved new congressional districts. They put Kinzinger in the same district with a pro-Trump Republican. Federal wildlife officials are proposing new protections for the Mexican gray wolf, an endangered species in the Southwest. The changes would remove wolf population limits and restrict legal killing if they prey on livestock, elk, or deer. Environmental groups say the changes will help the species to recover. Ranchers say wolf numbers and livestock losses are already growing. And on Wall Street, stocks wrapped up a big month. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 89 points to close at 35,819. The Nasdaq rose 50 points. The S&P 500 added 9. Overall, the Nasdaq and the S&P were up 7% or more in October. It's the most in a year. The Dow added nearly 6%, its best since March. And Merriam-Webster Dictionary is out with this year's crop of 455 newly added words. They range from TBH, an abbreviation for to be honest, to super spreader, to fluffernutter, the sandwich of peanut butter and marshmallow cream. And for fathers who eat too many fluffernutters, there is dad bod, referring to a less than fit body type. Dads, you look great. Don't let anyone tell you different. Still to come on the NewsHour, Taliban takeover, facing economic collapse and looming famine. Afghanistan's already dire needs continue to grow. David Brooks and Jonathan Capehart analyze the debate over President Biden's scaled-back spending bill. Filmmaker Ava DuVernay and Colin Kaepernick team up to tell the quarterback's coming-of-age story, and much more.
This is the PBS NewsHour from WETA Studios in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.